Relax. It's ASMR. Okay. Well, welcome back to part 2 of our gingerbread house adventure. We are in the process of trying to make this look as close as we can to the image on the box. And this is the image that we're going by. And my suspicion is that they only gave us enough materials to actually cover these 3 sides that we see here. And so far, my suspicion has been correct. So we're only going to be decorating these 3 sides and then putting them together into a house. So I've got a lot of the icing work done and the windows and things like that. So now we're going to go through and put in a little bit more detail, some of the bigger candy pieces, and work from there. So you can tell the dimensions are off a little bit. It's not going to be exact, and that's fine. But I think you'll at least look like they are cousin houses, if not brother and sister. So I'm going to work from the top and work my way down so that I'm not putting my hands in stuff if I'm going this way. So the first thing we want to work with is up here. And they had 3 of these peppermint spearmint candies. I don't know that we have room to fit 3 and also do everything else that we need to do up here at the top. So let me unwrap these. So we have 2 green ones, 2 red ones, and 1 yellow one. So the other thing they had here at the top was these candy bars, or these candy canes, I should say. So somehow we want to arrange these in a way that is similar to what they have. And it makes sense because there's only 1 of these to put this in the middle, I think. And then we can put this. We have this little broken piece here. Wondering if we can put those like right there, and that'll give us room to center that really nicely in there. And that'll come right to the top of our little 3 diamond pattern. I think they had the windows down and out a little bit more, and that gave them just enough room to do everything they needed to do. I think they also put the door right to the bottom, but it's okay. This isn't about fussing about the details. So let's start with this piece of candy here. And they show a lot. This has like a white circle of candy around it. So I want to put some here. And I want to put the rest right around like this. We'll make a disc about the size of the candy all the way around. Like that. And then we can gently press it down like that. I think that turned out pretty well. My icing is a little harder because it was been in the bag, and I tried to keep it protected with this damp cloth, but I still think it stiffened up a little bit. so far, we're doing all right. So now I want to put this here. And again, they show a great deal of icing gluing it down. So I think because they're bigger pieces, they want to make sure they have plenty of the icing glue. So we are going to really pile it on here. Now it's flowing a little bit better. I think it also may be getting warmed up in my hand as well. This looks like doing a weld. I think they call it stacking dimes. When they know they have a good weld, it looks like that. Okay. Now, squish that down very gently into that. And do the same thing on this side. And it's kind of covering up our dots, but that's okay. Does that look straight to you? It's pretty good. Should provide plenty of glue. Okay, so now the next thing they show is they have little dots of candy here on each corner of the window, and they also have a row of dots that go down each side of the door. So let's get some of these little candies out here. Push that down in there. We'll do a green one next. Do a purple one. And that's going to get, well, what we're going to do is make this do double duty for the sphere that comes down the side of the door and also is on the corner of the window. So let's do that on this side as well. We haven't done a blue one yet. That might work out just perfectly. Getting a little bit more confident as to what I can and can't do with this icing. Just a little bit at least. There's some experience going on here, I guess. Let's do a yellow one. Okay. So now fill in this part with icing. And we'll fill in the rest as well. It's a nice thick border here. Now, we'll see what this takes to be evenly spaced. I think we should be able to get 3 in there. Good. Try not to repeat colors too much. Oops. One of them escaped, I think. Then we'll end with a red one. Yeah. Let's see. Do green next. Then a red. Should fit right in there. Perfect. Then a purple. Then a yellow. And we'll finish up with another orange here. That looks nice. And now they also show a little door handle. Right there. Let's do a red one. I think that'll show it better than the blue one. And we have a blue one right there. Okay, so now we have a little door with decoration and a window. And the other stuff is actually sticks out from the door, but it's actually going to be on the surface. So I would call that fairly complete for now. Okay, so now let's start putting this house together. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the blank sides to give our house some structure. And that way I'm not fiddling with the ones that have decoration on them. And if they fall over or whatever, it's not going to break anything. So I'm going to put this about right here. And then this one comes in to the inside of it. You don't want to put it all the way to the edge because then the roof will hit this part here. So we want to slide it in like that. And that way the roof can easily come over top and we can get a nice seal. And there's plenty of room for icing to glue the two sides together. We want to make sure it's relatively square to the board. So something about like that seems about right. And what I'm going to do to make sure that I lay down the icing in a nice straight line is I'm going to kind of use this piece of paper here as a right angle. I'm going to draw that there. And then I'm going to draw let's see. If I line that up with that, and I line that up with that, that'll give us a good indication of where this should be. Very awkward drawing position. Okay, so that'll get us started, at least with a good, solid right angle. Don't need the fork. I thought I might use the fork for something, but so far I haven't needed it. So, there is nothing like the present, and we have two lovely cans of soup. We have minestrone and beef with bacon. So I always want to add food into my channel somehow, even if it's just candy and soup. So that's going to help hopefully hold some pieces upright while they dry. So, first of all, we want to put down a nice, thick line of icing. As long as we're on equal sides of this line, we should be pretty good. You can even go beyond it, that's fine. I think that's actually preferable. Okay, I don't think that's enough. I want it to squish up the sides. We're going to put another layer over top of this one. I think sometimes we don't use enough on the foundation to really hold it in place. Okay. Bring that over there. Okay. Oops. Oops. I've got a little disaster here. Off camera. I think it was squishing out the top of the bag. Okay. Really gonna have to make sure we watch that next time. That could have been really bad. I guess I'll just have to eat more frosting. Oh well. Could be worse, I guess. Okay, now, should I go ahead and put, I think I should go ahead and put icing on the other side as well. Let's make sure all this is down where it's supposed to be. Done a pretty good job so far of keeping this all relatively mess-free. There we go. I'll probably look back on the video later and see it squirting out all over the place. It's kind of like that video with the people playing basketball and the gorilla coming by. It all has to do with where you're focused. Other things can be going on. Okay, take it all the way to the end of this line. Probably just easy to do that. Okay. Good, no mess. Now, we want to line this up. And gently push it down into the icing. Then do the same with this one. And we want to make sure that they stay upright. Probably should have put a little bit in here as well. Just to make sure they stay glued together. Okay? Look at it from a different angle here. Okay. Now, I'm going to press this up against the side here. My soup cans are in the way. Sorry if I'm far away from the microphone, you can't hear me as well. But I've got to look around the corner. And make sure that I can see everything. Now you can't see this, but I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Okay. Push everything in. Now this is going to want to fall over, so that's why we have the soup can here, I think. Oh, I don't want to glue the soup can to the wall. We may just hold it in place for a while. Just be patient with it. So, I know that'll make thrilling video, won't it? Man holds wall for 10 minutes. Okay. So I'm going to let that dry, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so this has been drying for about an hour, so it's a little stable. It's not completely dry, but I think it's enough to start the next wall, and that is the one we actually have decorated. So that one's going to go here, and then we're going to cement that on, let it dry. Then we should have a nice stable foundation to put the front side up. So, like we did before, let's start putting down a nice big bead of icing. Kind of hard to see my line from here. I'm going to start on this side. Putting a lot on here seemed to do the trick. it allowed me to build up the icing around the outside of the walls, providing just a little bit more stability. I think it works pretty well that way. Okay. Now the other thing I want to do is put icing here as well. I think that still managed to squeeze out the top. Yep. Whatever. We want to put a good amount right along this edge. It's going to help cement it down to the wall. Okay, here we go. Provide support here. Push down. Push in. Now, make sure that is stable and that it is parallel. I think that's pretty good. Now, gonna let that dry a little bit. Just hold it in place. And then we'll treat it like we did these other walls and go for the front. Okay, so we now have one final wall and the most important one, the front, to put on. And I want to make sure that I put a nice thick bead here, but I also put a lot here, because that is going to be what helps hold it all together. I've cleaned this thing up. I hope that it doesn't squirt out all over the place again. We'll see. Plenty of icing. All the way down. The front of the house like this. From edge to edge. And then we'll put another bead just to be sure. I think I'm finally learning how to create a nice little pattern with this icing. Okay, now tuck that in there. And then we put a nice amount right up each one of these edges. Perfect. Okay. Now very carefully I'm going to set this down and then push it up. You guys need to see what I'm doing here. Push it up against the sides like that. It looks pretty even. Okay. So now we hold this in place. I'm letting each one of these stages dry for probably about 45 minutes to an hour in between each addition. So that's kind of the other thing we're learning from trying to make this look like the box. And that is, there are no easy, fast ways to put a gingerbread house together if you're going to be doing it correctly, or at least trying to do it correctly. It has to be done with patience in multiple stages. And I think having my icing a little thicker has actually helped somewhat. I try to push these together to make sure I have solid contact here. Okay. Well, I'm going to stop messing around with this. I'm just going to hold it in place and let it dry. Okay, so far, everything is holding together very well. We might just actually pull this off. So the next thing is the roof. So we're going to start here on the undecorated side. We're just going to put a thick stream of icing all the way around. Just like we did with the other sides. And I'm glad this project is coming to an end because this bag is getting very sticky. It's hard to keep it out because when you push to squeeze it out the bottom, it also wants to come out the top. I don't know if it will contact this, but I'm just going to put it here just in case it does. Okay. Now, we want to line it up with the top. Just like that. Okay, we can push it up a little bit more. Okay, and I'm just going to have to hold this because it's going to want to slide off. So, I did want to say that we actually may have, it looks like we're going to have some things left over that we could decorate the other sides of the house. Now, we didn't use as much, for instance, of these candies. We're going to use 2 of them here, so that means we'll have 2 of them left over. We have some gumdrops, so it's not enough to decorate the entire house to the same level of detail as these 3 sides, but there is still some extra left over that can be used, so that's good. Well, I'm going to hold this for a little while, and I will be back when it's time to put on the final piece. Okay, well, I went ahead and put on both sides of the roof because it seemed to work better that way. And so, as you can see, we have the front of the house and we have the side of the house, and we have the roof. So now the only thing to do is to add some of the outside decorations that are shown on the box. And one of them is this here, like that, which joins those two together. And then there is some little candies that go here on the front. And then there's the icicles that come down the side. So I'm going to concentrate on doing the top and the front. And then we'll see where we are. I may need to wash this bag out and completely redo it from scratch because it's getting really sticky and gross. But we'll have enough to at least get this done. So, let's make sure I have a lot of twisted together and push the icing down into the tip. And we're just going to squeeze it back and forth like this, slowly filling in this gap between these two roof panels. All the way down to the end. And we'll do another one. This will be good because this is going to get most of this icing out of this bag. I just want to make sure we have plenty of coverage. See, it's getting all over my hands. I need to kind of start from scratch again with this bag of icing. Okay. That should be a good start. Clean my hands off. I'm taking a bath in this stuff. Now, put this here on this edge, press it down, put this here on this edge, press it down, and then this will go in the middle, and press it down. Okay, looks very cute. And now for the front, try to position this so you can see it. I think that'll work. We want to do a few things here. Put some icing here. Some icing there. I think this is lined up with the door. It's hard for me to see at this angle. Then we can put that in. Rest it right up against the edge there. And do the same thing on this side. That may be a little close. Let me scoot it over a little bit. If I can push the icing. I'll tell you what, let's do this. This is going to be a little bit different than the than the box. I've got to have some creativity here. We have these ends of these gumdrops that we cut off. See if I can stick them in there like that. Make sure the candy doesn't fall over. Okay. That gives us like a little path leading up to the door. It's pretty close to what they had. And I have these remnants as well. Am I getting too far off script? Should I stick to exactly what is shown? Checking my reference material here. I can't really show it in the house is in the way. Okay, so you can see the front entrance there, and the doors and the windows, all of that. I would say we're pretty close. So what I'm going to do is let this dry, and then I'm going to take some pictures of it. Oh, I need to do the icing. Let's do that first. Let's see if I can get this icing to do what I want. In fact, I'm going to try here on the back edge, since we're going to take a picture of this from the front, and see if I can get this dripping icing like they show it. Just like do a daub and then pull down. Do a daub. Yeah, it's kind of working. I think I need bigger daubs. Okay, there we go. So I push in and I keep squirting just a little bit as I let go. And that gives me enough to pull down into an icicle. Oop. Okay. What do you think? I think it's a pretty good start. They really glob it on here. Big old icicles coming down. Now this may be hard to see. That's why I did as much of this flat on the table as I could, because it's hard to see the end result. Oop. I've eaten so much icing today. Okay. I think that looks pretty good. Squeeze some more of this down here. Put a big dollop here in the middle. And then start down the other side. Ooh, that's a nice long one. So, theirs are fairly uniform. Mine are not going to be that uniform. Takes a lot of practice. I also wonder how much of that photograph is actually the real stuff. Because oftentimes, food photography is not realistic because it would not hold up under the lights as well. So like for milk, they use glue. For cereal, stuff like that. Okay, so let's go around to this side. This is the side that's going to show in the photograph. Let's see if we can get this to stick and then come down. This edge is a little harder to work with. Yeah, they didn't work at all. Gonna take that one off if we can. Okay, try again. Coming down to the last little bit of this bag. Yeah, that wouldn't work at all. Some of these icicles are going to be better than others. Well. Okay, try these again. Press in and then come down. There we go. Press in and then come down. Press in and come down. That one worked pretty well. Press in and then come down. Press in, come down. Press in, come down. That little tail that comes off is wow. This is pretty rough on this side. These icicles are looking a little beleaguered. I'll do one right here in the corner. Okay. Well, not quite sure how to fix these. They are not quite as nice looking as the front, but pretty good. Okay. Well, I think we are pretty much done. I may do a little off-camera fixing and adjusting, especially after everything dries completely. see where we are. So I will see you with the finished product in just a little bit. Okay, so here is the final product of my house. I added a few things in here. I filled in some of this here to make that look like more of a solid piece of snow. And I added these little dots here, just the white ones. And I added along the roof line these three little pieces here, because that's what's on the box. So here's the front and the side and the roof. So I think we did a pretty good job of recreating the box. It's not perfect. There's a few variations. But I think the icicles turned out particularly well. That adds a nice little touch. This one's a little funky. And we have the door and the windows and a nice sunny yellow swirl. So I'm pretty pleased with it. I think it works. And then of course we just have the blank sides here. And here's where I practiced doing the icicles on the roof. And then for comparison, here is the box. So definitely related. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this two-part series. I've really enjoyed making it for you. I now have a delicious gingerbread house to display for the holidays. I hope you all have a Merry Christmas and a great holiday, whichever one that you celebrate. And I hope you have a very good New Year as well. I'll see you all in my next video. So please subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you guys later. Bye.